Hello, bonjour, savant. How are we tonight? It is Friday, June the 6th, 2025, here in southwestern Ontario, Canada, by the beautiful shores of Lake Huron. I'm coming on tonight because I was given information this morning in meditation, and this has been the first moment that I could come on here to pass that information along to you. I'm a little tired. We're going to keep it short, and I hope I can just remember everything. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, the last two videos we're talking about subjects that really triggered people emotionally. Who knew? However, let's look at that. Let's address that. The root is always fear. Okay, root chakra. Everything is fear-based. When you get angry, when you have a knee-jerk reaction emotionally, and it's way beyond what the whole situation calls for, you got to trace back the fear. Where is the original fear thought coming from? It's kind of like the movie Inception. There was one thought he planted in his wife's brain, in her thought structure, in her psyche. He paid dearly for that because she ended up committing suicide as a result. That's how dangerous thoughts, manipulated, put into your head, can be. They can kill you. They're not rational. They're not sane. There's nothing. I'm hearing the word normal. Like, what is normal, right? But you get the point. So I'm going to use a personal example, concrete example, as we say here, to illustrate the point we're trying to get across. So when I was around the age of 3 to 4, my mother wasn't doing very well, mentally, shall we say, or emotionally. My brothers were at school. They're older. I was the only one left at home with Mom. Dad was at work every day. Mom was a typical 50s wife, made sure the house was spotless. Dinner was cooked and on the table at 5 when my dad came through the door and demanded, "Where is my dinner?" So she started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to start to cook the dinner for the evening. She baked. We always had a fresh dessert. My father insisted on having that. And of course, in the 50s, you were not considered a good cook unless you could bake. I guess I'm not a good cook because I refused to learn how to bake. Absolutely. And I still to this day have never baked. No interest, not doing it. But that's what a good 50s wife did. So you can understand that there was no time for a child. I was just in the way. Her favorite saying to me, the one I heard so many times, I still remember it to this day, is, "I'm not here to entertain you." She would put me in the living room, sit me on the floor, give me a bunch of toys and say, "Here, go play." And that's what I was to do all day long. Stay out of her hair. Don't bother her. Don't annoy her because she could really lose it if you did. So around the age of 4, she decided to send me out of the house. Didn't want me sitting on the floor playing with toys, and occasionally going to ask her to spend some time with me. She didn't like that. So she decided to send me out to the neighbors, I guess as a babysitter. So at the very end of the street, we were on a very busy street. It's a main street in Sarnia. No sidewalk on our side of the street. And she took me out the door. She pointed down to the end of the road. It's a long road. She said, "See that house, the second last one from the end?" I went, "No, I can't see that far." Well, the second last house from the end that's so-and-so's house. Go over there and stay there and come back at 5. There was a bus stop along the way, just in the grass. And there were no such thing as shelters and that stuff, right? So I was scared. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know, I'd never been in that person's house. I didn't know, like, I mean, the girl, she and I were in school together, so it's not like I didn't know her, but I didn't know the family or the family's house. I know she had an older sister, and that was about it. So she was just somebody I sometimes spent time with at school, and sometimes we would play after school, but it's not like we were super duper close best friends or anything. So I thought, okay, I'll do that. So Mom opens front door. She says, bye, be back at 5. Okay. So I was walking along cars are whizzing by. Okay, it was very busy. I'm on the grass, walk by the bus stop. I get down to the end of the street, count the second one back up, because I could count to 2 at that point, and knocked on the door and just hoped that this would turn out okay. and it did. So I would stay there. I never really got along well with her. Yeah, she was into some stuff that I just wasn't really that keen on, but I had to stay there till 5 o'clock. And this very first time of walking down the road or the street put such fear in me of, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's going to happen. What if I get lost? Will I be able to find my way home? Like, what's going to happen to me? All these thoughts went through my head because, I was only about 4 years old. I was used to my older brothers being given the job of looking after me or babysitting me. But of course, when both boys were in school, babysitters were gone. I've been shown from time to time that seemed to be an issue for me, but I got over that. I don't have a GPS, but I do have a computer here, and I can research Google Maps, and I can memorize the roads if it's just a short distance. If it's a long distance, I print it off and I take it with me. So if I'm hours and hours and hours on the road and I can't memorize the roads, when to turn left and when to turn right, then that's what I use. I'm not into technology, as you know. But every single time, and I was shown this in meditation today, we were going over some memory codes, showing me this example to give to us today, understanding fear and why it triggers within us with the craziest things that can set us off. So to this day, when I go out in my car and I have to find a new place, a new store, a new dentist, a new whatever, or a new hairdresser, wherever, because I move a lot, as you know. Every time I have to find something new, where's the new grocery store? Where's the new gas station I'm going to be using now? Where's the whatever, fill in the blank, when you move to a new city? I still feel very nervous. I don't know if I'd call it an outright fear, but I'm very nervous. And I'm like watching, okay, which road is this? Where am I going? Yeah. I always make it. I mean, it's no big deal. But the fear, that trepidation, that nervousness, it's always there until I find the place and it's like, oh, I found it. And I didn't get lost. And I'm okay. And I didn't really feel the intensity of that until I was shown that today in meditation. And that's for you, that's for us to look at. So how something can seem as silly or unimportant or nonsensical as why I am feeling fear finding a new hairdresser, that's what this is all about. And this is only my childhood. We're not even talking about the eons of past lifetimes. Just think about all the stuff that's in there. We have so many fears from past lifetimes, and you don't even know it. It's in the DNA, it's in the genetics, it gets passed down. So unless or until you start doing some past life regressions with some people, and I'm not talking hypnosis, I'm just talking there are people who can read it, such as myself. If it's necessary or needed, then we do go there, and I will see it, I will give it to you, and just basically read the information for you. And I know I didn't even believe that existed, but it does. And once you can wrap your mind around that concept and accept it, or you don't even have to accept it, it just becomes so self-evident. It's just, it's a no-brainer. Then you start to realize, wow, I've got a lot of work to do. I've got a lot of past lives to look into. Where are these fears coming from? Why am I triggered by the name of a politician? Why do I feel afraid when I have to find a new grocery store in a new city I don't know anything about? I mean, how silly is that, right? There's no reason, there's no logical reason for this emotional fear that comes up. But there was the basis for the origins of that fear. So like in Inception, the movie, and if you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend watching it. It's got so much good information that's bang on. Even in regards to the different levels that they drop down into, that's the different interdimensional, multidimensional consciousness awareness, how everything is happening at different levels all at the same time. But you go back down into the deepest, darkest parts of you. You trace back that original thought that created that fear, because that's where it's coming from. So why are there so many people who react at the name of a president? I mean, do you feel that way about the Canadian Prime Minister? I think we just kind of laugh about that one. But anyway, you get my point. Where is that fear coming from? I actually asked that in meditation because I understood by the time I was through the meditation, I had to go through that memory again. I saw myself. I watched myself walking down the road, our street there. And I felt the fear all over again. Well, Mom, can't you just at least walk me the first time? No. You can do it. Second house from the end. Yeah, that's where it came from. And who knows, maybe there's some past eons of lifetimes of getting lost and feeling alone and scared and you don't know which way is up. Perhaps this isn't the first time. Probably not, because I still feel nervous. I always know I'm going to find it. I have a very good inner GPS. I kind of tune in, should I be turning right or left? If I forget, and I follow what I hear, and I arrive just fine. I'm always just fine. So I know I'm fine. But I still feel that the first time I head out in the car. Ooh. So that's what it's like. You have fears buried so deep in your psyche that can drive you insane. Where do you think all the personality disorders come from? You're stuck in terms and in times from your past lifetimes. You've got certain things that are hardwired in the brain, and other things are just left. And the connections aren't made correctly, or they're made improperly. And that's where it's all coming from. I mean, there are times when I've met people socially at the dances, as I've told you, and it's like, I'm talking to this person for the first time. You meet new people at dances, and or maybe they come in from other cities. That's what a lot of ballroom people do. And you sit down and talk with somebody, and it's like, oh, they got a brain glitch going on there. No wonder they have problems, getting along with people. Like, wow. And I can read that, and I can tell. I say, oh, if we could just rewire some of those circuits in there, they'd be just fine. But a lot of the times, they're hardwired incorrectly. But remember the game that's going on here. It's a psychological warfare game. Everything is thought. This is a war on thoughts. So if your emotions are out of control, like you cannot control your own emotions, do you see how easily manipulated you're going to be? You're not going to know which way is up, which end is up. Because your emotions are going to take you into the deep end without any life preserver to keep you afloat mentally. And you're going to lose it. And then you'll look back years later and go, what was I so upset about? You could have totally changed your beliefs in the next few years. You don't know that yet. So be very careful about your emotional triggers. They can do you in. One thing I did kind of think about, I asked in meditation about this, the frenzy in the States in regards to the politics. And I did recall, memory came up about, this was quite a while ago. Maybe I think it was even before COVID. There was one spiritual astrologer I had watched, and he had given the prediction that we would come into a time frame which was identical to the American Civil War. And however the astrology was then was going to happen like in this time frame now. And I did remember that. That's a long time ago. I heard that. Maybe as early as, I'm going to say maybe 2015, like in there. Yeah. So if this is true, and I'm not an astrologer, I'm just passing this information along to you. If this is true, that we're now in that same energy of civil war, there could be many people who have come in at this time from that time period who need to rest and digest out these old energies of being enemies. You're going to have to rise above that if this is true, if this is the case, but it came up in meditation, so the thought is there. And if the thought is there, there's some sort of whiff of truth in there. And if this is at all possible, then we're going to have to work through the past where we went through a situation like that. And we're going to have to undo that and let that go. There'll be a lot of history of pain and anxiety and everything that goes on in a war. But regardless of that, what Spirit's wanting us to focus on is the realization that we have a lot of fear triggers from the past. And when they come up, to see, don't just run from it or push it aside or push it back down. Bring it out into the open and watch what happens, because that's when healing comes. That's the next stage, is that the healing comes. Oh, just like today, I saw that memory. I remember that from, I can't remember. I'm trying to remember last time I was shown it, but it wasn't in this depth or intensity. It wasn't at this level of thought. So I literally saw myself. I felt everything, the original fear, the original thought that created that in my memory. And then I realized, oh, there it is. I remembered that, but I didn't remember of joining those two ideas together. And this is the reason why I'm nervous when I get in the car to drive to a place I've never been to before, and it's the first time. After that, I'm fine, because I've got it memorized. Okay, I turn right here, I turn left there. Okay, that big tree over there, I turn there. I get it memorized. Or that big tree with all the shoes nailed to it. We do crazy things like that here. We call it the shoe tree. So I look for landmarks if I'm outside of the city. If I'm in the country, I look for landmarks. In the city, I look for the street signs. And I follow my inner guidance. And I step out of my fear. Still a little, ooh, what if I get lost? Well, I'm going to turn around and come back. What if I'm going to be late? Maybe I'll be late if I get lost. You know, all these crazy thoughts come up. At my age, that's crazy. But that's what it's like. That's just one example to show you. This is what we're working through. And if you can't even have the memory recall, then you're really stuck. So when these moments of memory, the memory codes snap on and you start remembering, again, just go with it. Watch it like you'd watch a movie. Watch it. What did I do? What did I feel? I actually cried a little bit for myself. And that helped release some of the anxiety and the pain and the scared little girl part of me. And there's nothing wrong with it. But however you want to rest and digest that out of you, go for it. Doesn't matter how, as long as you do it. So this is what Spirit wanted me to come on today and go into more depth about these fears and why we have these crazy emotional reactions where it's not warranted. Like, it's not warranted. I mean, those levels of hysteria is like if somebody's trying to kill you or something. Like, it's just crazy. That's too much. It's over the top. It doesn't make any sense. It's not logical. There's no root insanity in that. So if there isn't, then where do we look next? Subconscious. What happened to me in the past? What is my higher self trying to show me that I need to see and resolve so I don't react like this anymore? That I'm level and I'm balanced, and I'm clear-minded, and I'm in mastery of my emotions and of my mental state. And that's the physical body. And of course, the spiritual. I know there was supposed to be more I was supposed to say, but honestly, I'm just too tired. I'm gonna stop now. I'm sure if there's more, whatever I've forgotten, we'll get it back again. But this was the main point. Just wanted to pass that along to you. Find out, figure it out, why you react the way you do. It's fear-based. But where is your fear coming from? Where is that fear originally located? You've got to trace it back, okay? Trace it back. Find it. Obliterate it. You feel into it. Okay, that's the memory. I understand where it originated from. Now I can let it go. And I don't have to be, like subliminally controlled by my subconscious anymore. And the least little thing just sets me off like a firecracker. On the 4th of July is what I'm hearing to say. Anyway, I'm going to go. Take care of yourselves and others. If you do wish some help in tracing back these original thought fears, or delving into your subconscious, or help in clearing it energetically, you can book an appointment with us at www.healingourenergy.ca. So I'm going to go. We'll speak with you another day. Bye for now.